So again, Randall Harrelson with United Credit Education Services. Financial Education Services is our parent company, and then United Credit Education Services is our nonprofit arm, and our staple, our flagship product service is the credit restoration. So we were founded in 2004. We have the two same key executives, Paramel Nayak and Mike Toloff, are the founders of the company, and they are still in place, which after 10 years is a good thing. We are headquartered, like I said earlier, in Farmington Hills, Michigan, and we have over $65 million in sales, debt-free, and again, the same key executives have been in place for 10 years, which is always a good thing with stability with any company. So, one of the key things about our services is that we have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, which is huge. To get an A+ rating is a good thing, obviously. Our last 20,000 customers that have been surveyed, we have a 99.9 satisfaction rating, which warrants us an A+ rating. We've removed over 600,000 derogatory items from our clients' credit reports, which obviously goes to show that we have very effective and using the dispute process, and I'll go into a little bit about that here in a minute. We have over 160,000 clients, and that is increasing on a weekly basis. As many of us know, people are struggling and going through. Actually, people are getting back to work, I think, is what I'm seeing, and they're starting to look at what's been happening over the past few years and how they've been affected, and they're looking to plan and move ahead and plan for the future, which a lot of people haven't been able to do because they've just been trying to get by. So our business is increasing or expanding immensely around the country, which is always a good thing for me as well. And just helping people is why I was attracted to the business as well, because having a service like this that can help people get back on their feet, just to plan ahead and be able to invest and work with their finances and make that next move for themselves and for their families is always a good thing. So we do have a satisfaction guarantee, which is always a plus with a lot of consumers that are buying something. They want to know that if it doesn't work out, and the dispute process itself, and again I'll go into a little bit more detail about that, the dispute process falls back on the creditor. If any of you have done any kind of credit restoration or looked into it, using the dispute process, the response is based on the creditor and how they respond. So we can do we're very effective, but we can only do so much, and having satisfaction guarantee obviously helps peace of mind with our clients. Now, many of you know, just on check on time, is it 10 minutes total?
Oh no, 30. Like half an hour.
30, okay.
Yeah,
The agenda, that's what I thought you said, but the agenda.
Our typical members are 10 minutes.
Gotcha, okay.
So you get 30.
That's what I thought, and I was reading off a good deal. So now, obviously we all know that our credit score is a vital sign. It's being monitored constantly. So that's evident, I think, by the junk mail and solicitation we get. Have anyone noticed the kind of solicitation and junk mail you get? To me, it's indicative of your credit score, and also the fact that it's always being monitored. And there's a reason for that, and I'll go into it in a minute as well, why we're getting these solicitations for whether it be credit card applications and other financial stuff. Anyway, so. But right now, there's a statistic that says that 25% of our population is a 599 credit score or lower, which I think it's a conservative number. I think it's probably higher, unfortunately, just because of the millions and millions of people that have been affected over the last 6 years of our economy. And over a lifetime, a low credit score can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in higher interest rates. Whether you're trying to lease, if you're able to lease a car, you're going to pay a higher interest rate. If you want to buy, of course, you're going to pay a higher interest rate. And for those in the mortgage industry, they're coming out with programs that are helping people with lower credit scores, but unfortunately, their interest rates are going to be higher. And it's probably going to be a lot harder for them to even get that mortgage if they can, but they're going to pay significantly more. So over a lifetime, hundreds of thousands of dollars in higher interest rates versus the cost to have your credit restored, there's obviously a huge payoff to have that, get your credit restored sooner than later, which is the message I pass to people. companies. I talk to some people, and if they don't have a financial plan in place, if they're not looking to buy within the next 6 months or a year, they know they have to get their credit restored, but they'll ask about information and they'll just kind of drop it. And they don't realize, and I just try to educate them a little bit, saying, if you're planning for something in the next 6 months or a year, or even if it's 2 years from now, you want to get this taken care of sooner than later so you're set in place. Because, what if they needed to buy a car in the next 6 months and didn't know it because their car died or what have you? Well, they go to finance and then either they don't get a loan or they pay 20% or 25% for a car loan, which is crazy. That rate is just insane. But unfortunately, there's people that are paying that because they have to, they don't have a choice. So now, have any of you had your credit checked for a job, for applying for a position by chance? Right, so financial institutions, banking, and insurance, yeah. They're running credit on their potential candidates for employment. Obviously, it's a sign of financial stability, of responsibility. So if there's someone who has a lower credit score, but they're a more qualified for a position, they may not get that position because someone else has a better credit score and shows a more likelihood of financial responsibility as well as reliability. So, and as far as credit reports go themselves, how many of you have seen your credit report in the last, say, 2 months or 6 months? Good. So have you seen any errors on there, any information that's not yours? Or even items that aren't correct? Whether they're reported incorrectly? Question. Yeah. So the reason I ask is that we have a statistic that shows that 4 out of 5 or 80% of credit reports are incorrect. They have either the information is not reported correctly, or there's errors, meaning that it's information on your report that's not even yours, which is scary. I've talked to several people that one gentleman had a medical bill that wasn't his. One person had medical identity theft, where about I think it was around $2,000 was his information was used to pay for medical or charge or however get medical procedures, and it was it got reported under his credit report, so it's not even his. There's a gentleman in San Diego who one of our sales directors works directly with to educate people on credit restoration. He's been doing this for a long time as well. He's called Mr. Credit, and just recently he had a credit score of almost 800 or over 800. He's the victim of errors on his credit report, and his score is plummeting. And this is someone who's in the industry as well, so it can happen to anybody. I myself am actually going through identity theft right now. It just happened the last couple of weeks. Someone accessed my information, and they're trying to set up credit cards. They had my debit card first, and then now they're trying to set up credit cards under my information. So fortunately, I'm finding out in real time, so I'm not even really all that worried about it or stressed because I didn't find out 6 months from now, which is a good thing. And I'll mention LifeLock. We have LifeLock as part of our services, so them and American Express and Bank of America have been doing wonders for me so far. So I haven't had any real issues, which is nice. So, and obviously, over the past few years, millions of Americans are affected by by the economy. So, and they're hurting with their score, which we mentioned before. Now, has anyone dealt directly with the credit bureaus themselves? How was that? Was it simple? Was it quick?
No.
Short answer.
Right. I mean, and that shows that a lot of people are under the misconception or perception that the credit bureaus are pseudo-government or government entities. And they're private multi-billion-dollar corporations. And they are not there for us. They hold our information, they have our score, they have our reports. They utilize that and they sell it to big business and industry, which is why we receive the solicitations we do today. Because companies are constantly buying our information. They're monitoring our credit reports, they're monitoring our debt or lack of debt, and all this is being sold to big business and industry. So, which I think is indicative not only of the junk mail we receive, but also when anyone tries to deal with them directly, they're not a customer service business, which you kind of think they are, but they're not. So it's unfortunate. Now, the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So is a law that was put in place in 1970, and it allows any one person to dispute or investigate an item on their credit report. Now, how it works, the dispute process is a letter is formulated and sent to the credit bureaus, and then they're the middleman. This dispute letter goes to the creditor themselves, and by law, the creditor has 30 days to respond. And if they don't within 30 days, by law, it has to get deleted from our credit report. So that's how the credit restoration is done. It's a dispute process. Now, any individual can do it on their own, but they have to formulate the letter properly. There are online services where you can do it for free, figure out how to do it. But it's difficult. You have to track it. It's time consuming. And if you try calling the credit reporting bureaus to get information on an item, again, they're not a customer friendly, customer service oriented business. So they don't respond. It kind of goes back to what they really utilize our information for. They don't verify items on our credit report. So anyone can place an item, any business or whatever it may be can place an item on our credit report, and it's not verified. We find out after the fact, and that's where the errors come into place, because they're not verified. So that part is very unfortunate, because then that's why we have to monitor our credit report ourselves. Now, there's a free website called annualcreditreport.com where you can actually see your report. You don't get your credit score unless you pay for it, but you can actually monitor, and you can get your credit report from all three bureaus. So it's annualcreditreport.com, and I can also email it to any of you that would like it. Because it's very important to monitor your credit. We'll probably check out your report every 2 to 3 months to verify the items that are on there are correct. So again, back in the Fair Credit Reporting Act and the dispute process, we've been able to remove everything from tax liens to bankruptcies to foreclosures, and of course late pays, any type of derogatory, obsolete items. Has anyone heard I call it an urban myth, that after 7 years items are supposed to fall off your credit report? There is no must or will or it's going to happen scenario, because I've talked to people that have items on there. There's a flashback on something?
Never taking you to court.
Yeah, exactly.
You won't open
That's why I call it an urban myth, because it just doesn't happen. I've talked to people that are middle-aged, and they have items on there from their first credit card when they turned 18. A derogatory late pay or something. And it's affecting their credit for 25, 30 years, whatever it may be. And so it's crazy. There is no automatic. You do hear once in a while people are like, oh yeah, I fell off after 7 years. Oh, that's great, but that's probably 1 out of, I'm gonna guess, it's not statistic, but 1 out of 10 that may happen to. So now if we can't get it removed, we'll get it updated properly. There's a lot of people that are going through short sales and foreclosures, and the information on their credit report is not reflecting the proper account or the bankruptcy or foreclosure or whatever it may be. It shows it's still active and open, as opposed to being paid off or whatever the items should be. And it could have been 2 or 3 years ago, and it's still showing it active today, which is obviously affecting the credit score negatively. So if we can't get it removed, we'll make sure that it gets recorded properly. So actually, you can't see this part. It's more visual. So when our customers register with us, they actually get an online account, so they can log in and they can see their aggregate of the credit score, and then a credit history, like a snapshot of their credit history, and then all the items that are going to be disputed are line itemed out. And as the process is happening, these items will be marked as deleted, so they can follow it as they go. Now, we only pull the credit report once, because obviously we're a third party, so we don't continue to pull someone's credit report. But say after 3 months or so, if we're getting items being deleted, the customer, of course, will pull their credit score to find out how it's changed for the better, which is a good thing. So there are some, we do have some customers that have had phenomenal results. we had a gentleman that went in to buy a car for his wife and found out he only had a 620, and he signed up with us, and we got him up to a 799 in 60 days, which is amazing. The system I'm seeing, or the typical process I'm seeing, is anywhere from 3 to 6 months, because again, when a dispute letter is sent to the credit bureaus, it goes to the credit reporting agency, or the creditor that is, they have 30 days to respond and verify. Now, again, the process is based on the creditor. So they're going to look at, well, there's different scenarios. If the creditor has the time, resources, and the staff to actually open a letter and look at it, they have to research the customer and find out, is it a current item? Are they still going to get money back from them or not? Or is it charged off and old? If it's charged off and old, it's likely that they're not going to respond. So therefore, after 30 days, it gets deleted. Now, another scenario is there's companies, and we've talked to people at credit bureau, at creditors, and they've said flat out, I'm the one that handles the credit or the dispute letters, and I don't have time to even open it. So it's a good thing for our client, obviously. They don't have time and resources to open it and investigate the dispute itself. Another scenario is the collection agencies. If the item's been sold to a collection agency, part of the dispute process is wherever that dispute letter lands, they have to verify the information, and they have to provide specific information for the consumer, for that person. Collection agencies don't have that information, so they can't respond. So it's going to, most likely, that's going to get deleted as well. So the dispute process is very effective. Now, one question I do get, and some of these may be thinking about this, is I get asked, can the item be re-reported to their credit, to someone's credit report? The answer is yes. They can do that. The creditor may decide after the 30 days has passed and they finally get around to looking at it. They can re-report it, but they have to give a 30-day notice before they report it back to someone's credit. So that is something that that is a question I get every once in a while. It's real fast. We have back to the insurance. A lot of insurance agencies also are running credit on people and basing their homeowners insurance and their auto premiums on a credit score. So that's something. One of our clients had her insurance dropped by $2,000 after restoring her credit. Her insurance premiums were significantly lower because of that, which is always a good thing to see that effect. Now, as far as make sure I cover everything. As far as costs go, now I've talked to people. I talk to a lot of couples, which is a good thing. So we're getting both of them taken care of. Depending on their items on their credit report itself, the cost for the credit restoration that they're getting quotes on from local companies. One couple I talked to, the wife was $2,000 for hers. The husband, his was a little bit worse, well actually quite a bit worse, it was almost $4,000 to restore the credit. So for the couple, it was $6,000. Now, I guess you could argue that if it's saving you hundreds of thousands of dollars over the next 10 years, 12 years, 20 years, whatever it may be, that could be worth it. But it's still a lot of money for doing the same thing that all credit restoration companies do, dispute process. There is no magic bullet. So we don't charge $5,000 for sure, or $2,000 even for one person. We have a flat fee for the 12 months, and it's only $499. And that does come with a satisfaction guarantee. So we can help people obviously restore their credit. People that need to have that done now, they don't want to spend thousands of dollars, because if they're looking to buy a house or a car or something like that, to have these you get handed a bill of $2,000 or $4,000 or whatever it may be is a lot. That's a lot to swallow when you're trying to make investments for your future or buy a house or save money or whatever the case may be. So being a nonprofit, we can charge a small flat rate of only $498. Being a nonprofit as well, our nonprofit arm is youth financial literacy. So a portion of we have a protection program, and a portion of that every month goes to that program, and it educates kids from 8 to 18 on financial responsibility. I could have used that when I turned 18, got my first credit card. So that is our nonprofit arm. So we do help educate youth on financial literacy. I actually am starting to work with a nonprofit org here in San Diego, just in time for foster youth, to help them, educate them. They help kids from 18 to 26 and help educate them on financial responsibility, and then making sure that they're aware of a service like ours as well. The unfortunate thing is foster youth are susceptible to identity theft as well. So before they even turn 18, there's a chance their stuff has been stolen and being used by fraudulent, by thieves. So that is our nonprofit arm, and I always like to mention that so everyone knows that it's a great organization. So, but that's it. And as far as our service and what I can do, who do you know that has less than perfect credit? We can help them out. I also do obviously speak in front of groups and organizations and seminars and that for any group that needs speakers to educate them on our service on credit education and credit restoration. So again, Randall Harrelson with United Credit Education Services, where we help restore your score